Yo, what's up? Got 2 streams in 1 week? This is out of place for me, man. So we got I don't have much of a agenda for tonight. I know last time I was like trying to do like tank and heal stuff and legendaries, but after running, I think I ran District Union on legendary like 4 times that night. Maybe even like after stream, I think I did, but I don't really know. I can't really do much more legendary stuff. A little burnout on it. But tonight I want to mess around with my status effect build. And actually, let me turn off this music. This is kind of annoying. Alright. So I just want to mess around with my status effect build tonight. I don't know if I will do summit or maybe I will do legendary with it, but it's Eclipse Protocol, and it's I made a video on it a couple weeks ago. I don't know if it was a month now, and I got flamed in the comments by like a handful of people for not using the backpack with the gear set and for not using Vial, because I just have a different preference for it. So I'm gonna try out like that version of the build. So usually, let me find what my build usually is. Hey Jay, what's up, man? Let me see if I can swap to my other build now. Alright, it's usually not this. Alright. So this is what I usually run if I'm going to run Eclipse Protocol. And I like using the BTSU gloves because it's like, if you're going to use a hive in your loadout, like you might as well just use these gloves, because you just get so much like skill haste with it. And then whenever you cancel your hive, you can you give your teammates overcharge of their skills. So this is what I usually run with like the bleed hive and then like the burn sticky bomb. And then creeping death, just so like the status effects are just like constantly spreading. But I got flamed pretty hard for using the wyvern backpack, because everyone was saying I should have used the Golan, which probably is right. I mean, but what's the point of me making a video or making a build that's like literally like the exact meta thing, or like the exact same as like any of the other, like, 500 guys making like build videos, so whatever. Will, what's up, man? So I don't know. So this is what I usually run, and I love this build. Like, I love it, even though it might not be like the most meta thing. But having these gloves, like whenever you run out of charges on your Stinger Hive, which is pretty easy to do, then just cancel it whenever you have like 1 or 2 charges left. And since you have these gloves, then it just like, you get like one stem charge like per second, or like half second. It's really quick. So basically that's why I usually run, but I want to change it up tonight. I've been messing around with like all the chads, well, all the chads are saying in the comment section, except I gotta swap. What else did I swap out? Do you, bro? Appreciate it, man. Actually, I don't think I have gloves for this. I was messing around. I threw on Vial, but I don't, in the firing range, but I don't know if I have a good chest piece. Oh god, dude. I'm such a noob. Okay. So what I'm doing right now with 5 pieces, don't do this. This is not me saying use 5 pieces, because you only need 4, but here's what this looks like in the fire range. Like, if you haven't seen this, it's pretty, like, this build is nuts, man. Let's go to very hard, and then these guys should be elites for the most part. Alright, they're all elites. So, running Stinger Hive. And then I'm running... Oh, I was running EMP, but... Hang on. Switch that to the burn one. Alright, so watch this. So, if you don't know, Vile gives like a damage over time whenever you apply a status effect. And I always thought like it wasn't really like that good, I think. Because I know Vile got nerfed at one point, but here's what it looks like. So it takes down like half, or like a little more than like half, which isn't bad at all. But then what really makes this even better is if you're using the backpack with this build, or for this gear set, is you do 30% additional damage to targets that have status effects. So if you already have Capacitor, which has like pretty decent DPS if you have 6 skill tiers, plus that 30%, then like you're actually doing like DPS. Like you're doing like legitimate like DPS. Like those guys are already half, but... Like that's pretty nuts. Like that's pretty insane, man. So I'm gonna mess around with that. I think that's gonna be like super fun. I'm gonna be like super squishy with like 700,000 armor because I'm not used to running that. Like I'm so used to running either like tank or PvP builds with like 1.3 or 1.5 million armor. So we'll see how that goes. Ongoing directive. It's gonna be all red. Not sure what to use for the other two pieces. Dude, that's one ongoing directive. I've never made a build with that gear set. I've collected pieces over the past couple months, like randomly whenever, if I ever just have one randomly drop and it's like a decent roll, I'll throw it in the stash. But I think I just like deleted all of those. But that's that ongoing directive. That's status effects, but I don't know what the 4-piece bonus is for that though. What build is this? I can't see. So the build is, it's Eclipse Protocol. So Eclipse Protocol is for status effects. So you run like a skill build with status effects. And then I'm using Vile, which gives you it gives enemies like a damage over time whenever you apply a status effect. And I don't like, I literally just like swap this over, so I gotta like, I might have to actually like craft like a wyvern piece or something to put with this. Hollow bullets, that's what it does. That one seems pretty situational. I want to say like I've seen people run that in with Pestilence. I want to say I've seen people do that with Pestilence in the Dark Zone, like making like a bleed build with that, and it's just like, or maybe not like a bleed build, but because it's like technically not bleed, but yeah, I ran with Ridgeway. Yeah, well there you go. Just run to everything with Ridgeway. Everything's just a bleed build. Increases skill damage. Maybe we'll just miss. Oh crap! I can't do backpack, man. I want to use the. I never used the actual like gear set backpack, like with this build. So I'm like, I like really want to not swap that out. I might just be stuck with these. Skill damage, skill haste, status effects. Okay. I'm stuck with crit hit, but whatever. Okay, this will be good enough. Let's go kill a New York boss. This is like my daily chance at a lottery, basically. Just go kill like 1 or 2 randomly and see if you get a random exotic from it. Man, I'm really hoping my internet kind of like holds up. Last time it was like kind of like dipping in and out, and for the past couple hours it's been like it'll be totally fine. I'll get like 800 megs down and like 15 megs up, or like 18 megs up, which is like the max I can get, and then it'll randomly just like drop down to like 1 meg down, you know, like 0.08 up or something like that. Oh, it's the stupid shield thing. I got swapped to like EMP thing. I forgot there was that, whatever the event is, to where like you need to have like EMP or explosives to like do damage to like the guy's shields. About to get shot. I'm dead. Oh my goodness, dude. I'm like playing like a Papago. Alright, let me swap this. I never really know like what secondary I should run whenever I'm running like a skill build, because I don't really have like I don't really want to run like test subject. I even have that on me. I don't really want to run like another AR, so I usually just like throw on like some shotgun, like hoping I'll just like stagger an enemy if I'm like getting pushed real hard or something, while I'm doing like no damage to a guy. Not seeing a boss here. No boss. What was the other one? Check the park. Yeah, Scorpio, I mean, Scorpio would be... I mean, Scorpio's like the ultimate, like, get out of jail free card, basically. Whether, like, a boss is, like, pushing you, or rogue agent. Like, a rogue agent in PVE, a hunter. Like, it just... It's, like, too good. The only reason I'm not is because I'm running a capacitor. And capacitor just does, like... It does so much damage with, like, skill builds. Bruh. Mechanical animal. Named AR. Mechanical animal. I don't even know what that is. What one is that? Mechanical animal. Man, if I've got one of those, I must have just like, I must just like deconstruct those or something. I don't even know which one that is. What's the name talent on it? Oh, okay. Yeah, I never used the SIG. Future Perfection. Okay. I actually like that talent. Like I obviously haven't used the perfected version, but I think it's fun for if you just have like a heroic like farming build or something. Especially if you're running like a shield, because whenever you get the extra skill tier, then it just like buffs your shield. Dude, this elite thing here is always such a pain. It's, I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but it's super annoying. Wait, what? I EMP'd that thing, dude. So stupid, dude. I EMP'd that. This is so annoying. I really don't like having builds like this where I don't have a way to self-heal, whether it's like armor on kill or like actually running like a chem launcher, because like you just go through like med kits like crazy. Like now I like literally have like no med kits. And I'm dead. Yep. Alright. We're off to a good start here. Let's go back to Washington. I hate that late thing, dude. I always go over there looking for the boss and then that thing's there instead. Can anyone explain what a hybrid build means? So a hybrid is, I mean, it's mostly what it sounds like. It's not strictly like a tank. It's not strictly a DPS. It's not strictly like purely a skill build. And it's like the majority of builds that you probably use, like especially if you're just doing like heroic stuff, it's probably like a hybrid build. So like this wouldn't be a hybrid build because it's like a pure skill like status effect build. But if I threw on, let me see. If I threw on like something like this, maybe? Actually, hang on. There we go. So this is like an example of like what like a hybrid build would be, because like this is just like it's a random build I kind of use for like heroic, just like generic like heroic farming stuff. So it has it has like 3 pieces that give me 2% armor regen, like this, 1% from the golem gear, and then another from the bellstone, and then on a couple pieces I have like I have armor, and then I have like, you know, but then I still have like red on like for most of the attributes. So long story short, it's just like it's like some DPS stuff, some armor and like survivability gear with like the armor regen. So it's like a mix basically. Like compared to if I had like this build, this would be like this would just be a straight up DPS build. This is like the kind of build that you would use if you're going to do like a raid as like a DPS like role, because literally every single thing in this build is going towards damage. Like every single attribute, every mod, like the weapons, like you're using like either in sync, or you could like use this to give you a quicker reload, so that way you have less time that you're not doing DPS. So that's kind of what like a hybrid build is. So the majority of time, if you're just using like, I don't know, any kind of build that you just like run around with, it's probably going to be some kind of a hybrid. I was kind of thinking that I might want to try doing like some solo legendary stuff, but I have a feeling that's going to be like super boring to watch, because I'm going to make it like through like a couple of checkpoints and then like die to like one grenade, like start over. So that might be like something like more like a video. I don't know, we'll see. I think I need to practice with like my negotiators build and just kind of get like better at like always like targeting random, like not random enemies, but multiple enemies, and then like bursting down like all 3 of them. Dude, I love the Bellstone gear set. It's just like so useful. Like throwing it in a tank build and getting that extra regen, or just like random farming stuff. I'm pretty sure I have. I'm pretty sure I have one, like what you said. Probably in my vault. I have like 8 of these that like I farmed. So I think I have some with like, oh yeah, there you go. I mean, it still has armor there, but running this as more of like a DPS kind of a thing. I think it's having 1% armor regen with weapon damage. It is if you have 1% armor regen in your build, it's like, I feel like you either need to have like none or you need to have at least 2%, because 1% is just really, really slow. Like it is useful, especially if you're like out of med kits, but 1 is just really, it's too slow for me at least. Because a lot of times, like if you're down and you really need that armor regen, like you're probably getting pushed and like you're not going to be at full health by the time you get pushed. Bro. Well, I'm dead. If you're constantly in cover, yeah. True. If you're in cover and you're not getting flanked or getting pushed, which is the tough thing. You can stay in cover, but if you're on heroic or if you're on legendary, like these people are going to be pushing you and getting around you no matter where you are. So that's kind of like the tough part. No! I'm a Pepega. I missed. Dude, perfect bloodsucker. Love it. Oh, that's on the Billstone name backpack too. I have one of those. I probably have a couple of those. I just never really use them. I feel like I always prioritize talents on my backpack that go towards like putting out more damage rather than like survivability. Even though a lot of times survivability would probably be you know, better or more useful at least. I'm getting a pin. Is that man really going downstairs? Can't seem to change talents because they're always locked. There could be 2 different reasons. If you have, if it's a named talent, So if it's a name piece of gear, if I have one, like this one. So you probably already know this, but if anyone's watching that doesn't know, so named items will have like a yellow name on it, and then they have like a special talent usually, and then that's highlighted in yellow as well. I'm about to get shot. But those, if you ever have like a perfect talent on a name piece of gear, then you can't change that. The other reason would be if you've already recalibrated something else on that piece of gear. So on this backpack, I recalibrated, well, let's do like a high-end one. So on this backpack, I recalibrated repair skills because you can see the symbol there. And so since I've already recalibrated that, I can't change this, I can't change that, I can't change that, I can't change safeguard. So you can only recalibrate one thing on one piece of gear. Now, if you're optimizing, you can optimize everything on an item. Doesn't really matter if you've doesn't matter at all if you've done that before. So double check and see, maybe you've already recalibrated. That's probably what it is. Main just rolled out of it. Can you optimize one thing over and over until it's at the limit, or is that no? That is you can optimize a single stat until it hits the maximum, and you can do that for every attribute on a piece of gear. So I could do, say if like both of these were only at like halfway, I could optimize all of those. And or a piece like this, like say if armor was only at like 100 and this was only at like, 4,000. That's what optimization is made for. It's made for allowing you to turn your average gear or not quite perfect gear into perfect gear. That's literally why it's in the game. So it's super expensive to do, which is the bad thing. So if you have something that's, say you have like weapon damage that's at like 8% on a gun, wherever max for that field is 15, like you probably shouldn't optimize that because it's going to be super expensive to optimize that from 8 to 15, and you're better off just trying to get like a better rolled item just to drop. So it's kind of up to you, like whenever you want to optimize. Like of course you always can, but it's like, okay, should I actually spend like all these materials, like turning this one gun, like into like a better roll? And a lot of times it's not really necessary. Like if it's something you use all the time and like this is a gun I'm going to use for a long time, this is a build that I'm going to use, for a while, then yeah, go for it, even if it is expensive. But if it's just like some random build that you're like throwing together, don't, because it's just too expensive. Man, I can really tell a big difference in like weapon damage by using the backpack. That's pretty crazy. I can definitely see why a lot of people like running this version of the build rather than like the BTSU gloves. Got rogues. Got rogues. Dude, I'm glad to help Inquisitor, man. Yeah, I like talking about this stuff and just nerding out on like a video game. Like forgetting about like work or like any like real life problems and stuff. Just talk about like skill builds. I feel like the rogues in, like whenever the rogues come up after a control point like this, they're not very hard compared to like in the summit. If you go up until a, if you get to a rogue floor, like they're pretty crazy there. Maybe it's just because I'm only like solo. Well, then again, I just almost got one shot by a shotgun, so never mind. You only started last year? Holy cow, man. Yeah, feel free to stop me if I'm like saying stuff like meta or something stupid like a Pabega and you don't know what it means. Cause I kind of forget. I've been playing like looter shooter games for like, like 8 years or however long. They run at you like crazy people. Yep. They just push you. Bruh. Back like I used to be like a big Destiny player back in the day. Like I played Destiny 2 as well, but not nearly like as hardcore. But like Destiny 1, I got really into raiding, and I used to Sherpa people through raids. So like I used to like run people through raids who haven't done it before, and it was crazy. Like I didn't expect it. There were like so many like just like middle-aged dudes just like playing it. And like at the time, I'm just like. I don't know, like I grew up with like, just thinking like, like no one normal played video games, or like no like I guess like no responsible adult would play like video games. And then I'm like running someone through a raid who's like, you know, upper management at like a company, you know, making like six figures. I'm just like, what the heck, man? But it's like you kind of forget, you know. But then again, like I'm gonna be like whenever I'm like 50, whenever I'm like 60, I'm definitely gonna be playing video games. Like I don't know if I'm gonna be doing like going into the dark zone and like yelling at people and like talking crap, but I'll definitely be, you know, doing something, doing like open world games and exploring and shooting aliens or something. Dude, stuff like this, like I know I'm never gonna use this. Like, it's a really nice role, but it's like I'm never gonna use this. I don't use like marksman, and if I'm gonna use like a marksman build, like it's gonna be with like Nemesis. I'll keep it. I'll keep it for like a couple weeks until I don't feel like guilty about just like getting rid of it. Yeah, this, especially with this this game definitely attracts. I don't really know what it is. I don't really know if it's just like kind of like the military aspect of it, or the builds, or the loot, or what. But there definitely are like a lot more guys who are like in their like 40s and 50s who play. Spain just casually walks out my hive. Man, I think a lot of people in Division 2 have just kind of figured out that most marksman rifles aren't really worth it. Like, you can like, you know, the Hunter, was it Hunter M44 or whatever. You could like, you know, like all of these, but none of them are going to do the damage that Nemesis is going to. You know, or running Mantis and just running like not drone. A decoy. Just run decoy and then like Mantis, and since the enemies aren't looking at you, then you're gonna do like 50% additional damage. So it's just like if you have either of these guns, there's like no point. There's like no point running like the M44 or the covert. It just you never really grow up. That, whenever I heard someone like say that like years ago, probably whenever I was like a teenager, that like blew my mind. Like it blew my mind because like my parents, like I had good parents, and they were super adult. Like they were cool people and like had sense of, you know, like a good sense of humor, but they were very, you know, they're professional and responsible and very much an adult. And now I'm 31 and I'm just like, I feel like I'm like, you know, like 20. Like I feel like I'm like a teenager still. I still like video games. I still like Mountain Dew. I still like skateboarding. And it's just like, dude, it's like, it's kind of comforting, but it's also like terrifying because it's like, oh God, like I'm going to be 50 and like still not know what I'm doing like in life. Other than like, I'm going to know how to like make a build in a video game. Marksman rifles are definitely niche. I mean, it's, you know, there's so many, like, all the enemies, whenever you're on like a harder difficulty, all the enemies just like rush you. So it's just like, if you're in a team doing like a legendary, then marksmans are very good. Like running District Union, which was the legendary this week, every time I ran that, maybe except for like once, you had people running like Nemesis and probably like a Vigilance glass cannon like marksman build, because you can just like sit back and do like, you know, like 20 million, 50 million, 60 million damage per shot with it. But if you're doing solo stuff, like solo heroic, like you're going to have a hard time. And there's so many missions and areas where it's close quarters, like Summit. Like Summit, you're going to have a hard time if you're doing solo marksman. But I guess it'd be fun if you want like some kind of a challenge, but I don't know. Not worth for me. Rifles are like a good medium because you can still use the not the marksman specialization. What's the special? Sharpshooter. You can still use the sharpshooter specialization and get the additional headshot bonus. You can still, basically you can make like a marksman build for the most part and use a rifle and have a ton of range and get headshots, and it's still like really useful. And the actual DPS on marksman are or not marksman, on just rifles are really good. But like just this alone like makes rifles like pretty solid. And then on top of that, rifles, what rifles do I have? Like all the rifles, like they have like, whenever they have like a 40 mag, 40 bullet mag, like if you run the extended, like that DPS is crazy. Actually, let me throw on one of those builds. I made Negotiators build for rifles, and it's probably not optimal. It's definitely not optimal because I need a Providence piece. I have like Seska Varoba just because I don't have a better piece, but you really want like a Providence piece so you get another 15% headshot damage. Yeah, dude, I really love the Mantis, man. I really, it reminds me of what is it? There was a gun in Destiny 1 to where if you aim down sight, it was a sniper, to where if you aim down sight, then you have like active camo, or like you go invisible, and that's what it reminds me of. But it's fun. Alright, so rifles. Let's look at the DPS on it, because they're crazy, man. Should we do named? Alright, so one thing I am running with rifles, which is like crazy good, is focus on the chest piece. And it's like basically, it's basically, actually not really. It's kind of similar to like the Nemesis talent, except with this one, you just get more damage the longer you ADS. And you have to have a ×8 scope. So if you see the binoculars symbol, and then there's an orange bar filling up underneath my ammo, once that gets filled up, now I have like the max bonus. That was trash. Hey God, I swear it's good, dude. Elite's what we want. Yeah, I actually like the classic M1A a little more. I just don't have like a perfect one. I have a baker's dozen, but I mean it's still good, but I like having boomerang instead. Because boomerang, whenever you get a crit hit, then that bullet like has a chance of returning to the mag, and then that bullet's gonna do 40% increased damage, which I would much rather have that. Alright. So wait for this to fill up. So this should be like over like 7 million DPS. Actually, yeah. What? Hang on. Hang on. Alright, reset. Dude, I swear this is good. Showing target loot for the day. There you go. Grab a screenshot. Oh, for DZ. DZ, ARs and East, SMG and South, Eclipse Protocol and West. That's actually pretty good. Okay. Alright, this is the last time we're doing this. Wait for focus to build up. Best way to run it. No rifles in the DZ at least. Okay, there you go. That's why this is good. And this isn't even close to being like an optimal build for it because I don't have Providence defense. And then it's probably not like if you're actually trying to do like pure DPS, then you wouldn't run it with negotiators. But this is why I'd run if I'm trying to like solo a legendary. So you have to stay ADS'd for the most part if you want to keep the focus bonus. But there's one exception. Whenever you reload, I'm still holding right click, and if you notice, I still have the full bonus under the binoculars. So you could kill target, reload, and then you might have to reload, or you might have to keep holding ADS, or it might just be do it quick. Let's see. Okay, so I let go. So if you reload and ADS still, you still have that focus buff, which is like huge. Alright, that was kind of random going into that, but I just made this build and then I was using ARs and then I swapped over to rifles and I'm like, okay, this is way better. Get the named 1886. I think it's been like 3 years, 2.5 years since I've shot an 1886 in this game. I was so psyched whenever I saw that they added that gun into Division 2 whenever the game launched. And then I used it and it was just like, oh, okay. So this thing is just trash. I don't know what I want to do here. I might just... I hope it's not too boring. Like, let me know if this is like super boring. I might just kind of cruise around, do some control points. Just kind of chill. How long do I take making a build? It just depends, man. I mean, it's totally dependent on what pieces you need. You know, if you're trying to... If you're trying to make a build that uses 4 pieces of a gear set, then that build, you can throw that build together pretty quickly for the most part, because gear sets are really easy to farm because they only have one attribute. And I want to make sure I'm right, yeah, because that's a mod. So gear set armor pieces, they only have one attribute. So, like if you're farming Eclipse Protocol, I'm pretty sure maybe there's a chance, but I'm pretty sure like Eclipse Protocol is always going to drop with a skill tier as the core attribute, which is what you want for it. So it's like, as long as you have like whatever attribute, like say status effects, it's what you want to have on it. As long as you have that in your recalibration library, then it literally doesn't matter what drops here because you can just recalibrate it. So anytime you're farming gear sets, it's pretty quick. So I mean, like if you want to make an Eclipse Protocol build, you could make that in a day. Like, no, you know, because like then all you need is just, I don't know, you could get a Wyvern piece or get like a Golem piece for the stats effects, and it doesn't have to be perfect. You know, you could get something that drops and, you know, like this where it's like, all right, it has crit damage, but whatever, I can put stats effects on it and it'll work. And then, you know, you could throw on, if you don't have Vial or something, throw on, just farm something kind of random and like get it. So gear sets are pretty quick, but if you, the PvP ones, man, like if I'm making a PvP build, dude, that takes forever, man. That takes, let me find my SMG build, unless I deleted it. I think I deleted it. This isn't really like a great example, but like this. I have farmed Circle of Concern chess pieces, trying to get like a God rolled one. And like I'm trying to get like crit chance, crit damage, weapon damage, and then, you know, I want to have Intimidate on there because I'm gonna run it with Adrenaline Rush. And dude, I literally cannot get it. It's been like 2 months, and I don't farm it every day, but dude, if you're trying to get like that, or if you're trying to get like the Matador, like a named piece, and you're trying to get it with like good rolls, like good luck, because like I'm still stuck with like headshot damage on here, even though I'd rather have like crit chance or crit damage, probably crit damage instead. So if you're farming stuff for high end, like with high end gear, then that can take, I mean, that could actually take months for you to get like a God rolled one. But then again, like everyone in the game is super obsessed with like getting God rolled stuff, because like that's the end game. But I don't know, stuff doesn't have to be God rolled. Just, you know, if you're trying to just like make a build, just get the pieces, get some of the right attributes, throw it together, start using it and enjoy it, and then just kind of go from there, you know. Because if you're missing 3%, you know, stats effects on, you know, a couple pieces, it doesn't make that big of a difference. If you're doing like a raid, if you're doing like legendaries, okay, like if you're missing 10%, 15% of a attribute, okay, but a lot of gear sets on PvP. PvP is probably more high-end oriented. If you're just gonna make a like the generic kind of like PvP AR or SMG build is probably gonna be more towards high-end, rather than gear sets. But you do see plenty of people running skill builds in PvP, because like skill builds are crazy. Like if you run Creeping Death right now is broken in PvP. It's insane, dude. And you see people like running foam and stuff. So it kind of depends, I guess. Stash 5 Providence, Grupo Seska, backpack with different talent, ease of build. Yeah, I mean that's the way to do it. I mean that's just kind of like once you learn the gear sets and like, or the brand sets, and you kind of just like know which ones are good and like which are good for what kind of a build, and whenever you get them, just like stash them like that. No, I can't reach. Get this guy though. Oh no. One thing I like about Sticky Bomb is you can hit people from a mile away. Just super far like that. Yeah, skill builds on PvP. One of the reasons why people get so salty about it is because creeping death is totally insane, which it just transfers. It transfers status effects. So if you hit someone in a group with the status effect, then it gets transferred to like everyone else if they're kind of like clumped together. Foam. If you run a skill build, you can get, I think it's 9 foam charges with a chem launcher, and that is just a plague on the Dark Zone. It is just a plague of like groups like being super careful and just like hanging in a corner, and then they hit then they just hit you with foam and then like burst you down. And I don't know, skill builds they're a little too good in the Dark Zone. And the thing is, like, whenever you kill a group or a couple players like a couple times, they're always going to change to a skill build using foam. And it's just like, okay, they're mad, they're using foam now. The Dark Zone is also kind of like hit or miss. If you're a new player, the problem is like people kind of see the Dark Zone, like if you're a new player, they may kind of think it's like hopping into like Call of Duty, and just like, all right, let me just go in and just kind of like mess around with it. When really, the Dark Zone is like a true end game activity. Like if you're a hardcore PvP player who's in there every day, you're going to have a very optimized build. You're going to know how to use that build very effectively. You're going to know the strategies. You're going to know all the spots and the vantage points. And if you're just going in there and you don't really know what you're doing, it's not going to be very fun. So if you go in with people who do and kind of like show you around, or if you kind of go in with like a good mindset, and like you don't get super mad whenever you die, like if you're just going in there kind of trying to learn, then it can be a lot of fun. Is there any use for the 511 gear set or brand set? Do I have a piece on me? Well, the first piece, the 1-piece bonus gives you health, which is basically pointless in this game. I don't think I have a piece on me. Does it give you Hazard Pro? I can't remember what the other 2 bonuses are. I don't know if like the 2-piece or 3-piece bonus gives you Hazard Pro. Yeah, you don't, I mean, that kind of shows you, like, there's so many brand sets where I can just rifle off what the set bonuses are, like, off the top of my head. And then 511, it's like, what does that one do exactly? It just kind of, like, shows you. And it's kind of weird, because, like, health was like, meta in the Dark Zone in Division 1. And I don't know if they ended up, like, nerfing that, but for a while, that was like the meta thing to do, is like stack health. So that way, whenever your armor got, you know, got bursted down, then you still had like a huge amount of health. Incoming repairs. Okay. Incoming repairs. There's a dude in Discord, Lubos. I think that's how you say his name. He has a high-end tank build that he uses, and I think he uses that, the incoming repairs. Dude, that freezing mechanic is actually really cool. Yeah, there's definitely if the 4-piece bonus isn't insane with a gear set, then you're better off using like brand sets a lot of times. Especially if you're doing like a DPS build, because like you can just hit crit chance and crit hit and headshot damage and all that like useful stuff. So I don't really do raids, Joe. I don't know. Maybe eventually I'll kind of feel like it, but I just like, for whatever reason, I just don't really care about raids in this game. I think I'm kind of burnt from doing so many raids in Destiny, and I really like being a solo player a lot of times and just kind of doing my own thing and not like having to coordinate with like a team. So I think that's kind of like why I'm not like really into raids. The guy doesn't want to die. have to play like so careful with this build. I don't know about you guys, but I'm constantly at 20 caches. I'm constantly just full. Like, I can't be bothered to just like constantly open those because it's like the majority of the time the gear is just absolute trash. And that's worth. Let's swap builds. I want to mess around with that negotiators one. Do some rifle stuff. So when you reach 1000 shade, what else does it run up? Well, all this stuff is going to be maxed out whenever you hit 1000. So then every time you, I guess like once you hit 1000, every time you, like level up, I don't know if you get to choose from here every time or if it'd be like once every 5 times like it is like now. But that's really it. Other than once you hit 1000, it's just kind of that's kind of it. The number goes up. I don't really know if there's any more bonuses. Explain how Negotiator works. So here's what Negotiator does. So the 4-piece bonus, like you get credit chance and credit damage from the 2 and 3 piece. So you can shoot an enemy and that marks them, or at least whenever you do a critical crit hit, it'll mark an enemy, like tags them, and there'll be a symbol above their head. I think it's like this symbol, and you can, with just the base set, you can target, or if you're not using the chest piece, you can hit 3 total people and mark them. And then whenever you damage any of those guys, they're all going to take damage at the same time. So if I'm shooting the 3rd guy that I marked, the other 2 guys are also taking damage. So if you're not using the chest piece, if you're not using the backpack, then the other 2 targets that are marked, they only take 60% of the damage that you're doing. Like once they're marked, if that makes sense. So if I'm shooting guy number 3 who's marked, guy 1 and 2 who are marked are taking 60% of the damage that I'm shooting at guy number 3, basically. But what you really want to do with this build is use the backpack, because that 60% damage turns into 100%. So guy number 3, I'm shooting him. Now guy number 1 and 2 are taking 100% of the damage that I'm shooting at guy number 3. So this is a really good way of killing multiple enemies at the same time. And it's really good crowd control. And you see a ton of people use this on legendaries. Especially if they're doing like solo, because it's so efficient. One thing you could do with this build is run the chest piece, and the chest piece allows you to mark up to 5. So the way I'm running it, I can only mark 3 people, but if you run the chest piece, you can mark up to 5 people with it. So obviously that'd be super useful, but instead I'm running focus, because whenever I'm aiming down sights with that like 8x scope, then it gives me like a huge damage bonus. Like it's really good. Like it's a ton of damage. And the good thing is I'm using an 8x scope, I'm using a rifle, which is still good at range, and I'm hanging back and I'm safe from enemies for the most part. You know, you're more safe against enemies. You can only get negotiators and DZ. No, you can farm that. You can farm that at the summit. Here it is right here. So if you want to do it tonight, you could farm one just completing stuff in this area. There are gear sets to where certain pieces are only available in like raids or like certain activities, but negotiators, you can just do that like wherever. So you can do that in Summit. System corruption. Yep. That's one that's DZ exclusive. I want to say you can get that from proficiency caches, but I'm not 100% sure on that also. But you definitely can't farm that like normally. Dude, I need... Negotiators is fun. I still need to practice with it, but there's a guy in Discord, DevCat, and I think on YouTube his name is Magnality, and he's been using it, and he posted a couple videos of him doing it on Legendary, and it's just, he's like super efficient with it. And if you guys, like, some of you guys you guys probably already know this or may, but if anyone's watching and you don't, if you go to the summit, pull up like what your map normally would be, and then you can select targeted loot, and you can choose whatever your targeted loot is for the summit. So the majority of items in the game, the majority you can farm at the summit. Like there's still stuff like system corruption that you can't, but gear sets, brand sets, you can armor pieces like specific items, or and then weapons, which is like super useful. Use it on floor 100. Yeah, I was trying to do that. It's probably really good for that first room. I'm sure it probably is good for the second room. I haven't had much success using it against the hunters on floor 100 because I feel like I'm just not doing like enough damage. Even if I am running like a rifle, you know, or like a all red build, because these heal up the majority of the time. Like I feel like I either need to run like Nemesis and just try to like one shot them or two shot them, or just wait till they push through the door, you know, and then just either foam them or do what, you know, whatever like you normally would. Thought it was a team build gear set. Which one? Like negotiators? I know a lot of people use negotiators solo, at least in PVE. I don't know about in PvP though. PvP, it would definitely be like you do see people use it in PvP. My buddy Grix has he'll do it like if he's playing in a pretty decent group, and if he's fighting like a 4-man group, then he'll use negotiators, and he's pretty good with it. Bruh. Let's see if I mark some guys. Alright, so if you see the symbol above their head, now they're marked. So if I'm shooting that guy, this guy's taking damage. So I'm shooting this guy, and he's taking damage. So that's why people use negotiators, because I can just, instead of having to actually like DPS both those guys, I can just shoot him once or twice, DPS this big guy, and that other guy's gonna die, and then that guy's dead. Holy cow. Okay, I gotta chase this man down. What build are you using? I'm using negotiators, and it's kind of scuffed. I mean, it's not bad, but I'm using Seska Varoba, but I need this to be a Providence piece, and I'm running focus on the chest. And then this is the named Fox's Prayer knee pads. If you guys aren't familiar with these, like these are like the meta knee pads for like the majority of DPS builds because of this right here. Damage to targets out cover. That's like one of the best attributes. And if you see me like ADSing like and not like shooting a guy for like a long time, I'm trying to build up focus. And if you see the binoculars symbol underneath my ammo on the bottom right, that orange bar fills up, and then once that's filled up, I do like way more damage. Hang on 1 second, guys. I'm dropping frames like crazy. I'm not sure why. What's going on, dude? I think it's okay now. Man, I've got 1 more month in this apartment and I live kind of out in the boondocks. I kind of like live in like a farming area, and the internet, man, I can get good speeds, but it just always consistently drops, like, after a while. And it's just super frustrating. No matter, like, what, like, internet package I have, it just always does it. I kind of want to swap off this build. Not really enjoying it. Oh, no, I'm in combat? What? That convoy's still there. So if you guys don't know, these convoys, resource convoys, give you like, they're like a super efficient way of farming your watch level. They give you like a bunch of XP. I don't know if it's a bug. It probably is a bug, knowing this game. But if you're really trying to farm that watch level up, then just look around and do these convoys. The great thing that I love about these skill builds, like the Sassific builds, is the crowd control. Like, it's super useful on legendaries to where you're just like constantly getting rushed and there's like a ton of enemies, especially if you're in a group, like a 4-man group. But like being able to throw down like a hive and like apply stats effects to like a whole mob of enemies, or like a whole group of enemies that like just spawned, like it's like incredibly useful. Plus it's fun, just compared to like sitting there like shooting like one guy for like 3 mags until you kill him. Did a convoy that was a 3. So are you playing on heroic, and then you're having to like get them up to like level 3 and like 4? That can definitely be tough, man. Especially if you don't know where they're gonna spawn, because like you kill one wave and then they just like come out like a truck like right by you or something randomly. No. Hey, it still worked out. Comes in our convoy. This isn't good. What? Can't take cover there? Man, one of the best things you can do, learn in this game, especially if you're still kind of working through the difficulties, is learn like when to reposition. Because like you're getting flanked just like there, and I know this is gonna be like, oh, I'm so smart, like look how smart I am and how well I played that, but at the risk of sounding like I think I'm smart, but you kind of learn like, okay, like I'm getting flanked from here and here, I just need to like get back and just fall back, get more cover, and just survive. That's like the toughest thing for a lot of new players whenever they're moving from like hard to challenging or challenging to heroic, because the AI just acts so differently and it's a lot more aggressive. Wait, are there more? Oh my god, dude. Any tips for better gear? I just hit level 40 last night. So the higher difficulty that you are on will give you, for the most part, it'll give you better rolls. There's like a minimum roll. Holy cow! Hang on. So for each like difficulty, there's like a minimum like percentage that like each attribute will like roll at. I don't really know what it is, but basically like once you're on heroic, you're not going to be getting pieces that have like a 3% attribute on it, like 3% weapon damage. Like maybe you do, but it's like incredibly small chance. And then like once you work your way up to like legendary, then the majority of items are going to have like pretty decent rolls. So that's kind of how you get like better and better stuff. One of the really useful things to do whenever you're like at your level is to start adding things to the recalibration library. So if you randomly get an AR that has 15% weapon damage on it, then you need to add that to the recalibration library, so that way anytime you ever get an AR in the future, then you're going to have the ability to make that like max damage. So that's one way of like kind of like setting yourself up like pretty early for like getting like good stuff, or like at least improving the gear that you get. And I don't really know what I'm doing right now. I'm just like running around while I'm like talking, trying not to die. Yeah, Inquisitor, like it's just so useful, man. Just especially using like the cover to cover moves, like they're really quick. Also, so if you're in a spot to where like if you can like look back and I don't know, probably not a good example, but do something like that and then quickly turn the corner, That's a pretty efficient way to like fall back. And you can just like keep doing this. Just holding cover to cover. You do this, jump over real quick. And you can just keep doing that if you're getting flanked from the left, and just kind of keep working your way over. But the thing is, like, you have to recognize it. You kind of have to like get out of the mode of like just shoot, like me shoot, enemy me shoot this way. You kind of have to like turn your caveman mind off, you know, that you've had on whenever you're playing through like the story in like hard mode. And I do the same thing. I know like so many people will like flame me, especially in like a video, like if I like run away from a grenade, like you can just shoot it out of the air, you can just shoot it, but yeah, but then I'm risking of like getting blown up and being like one shot if I don't like shoot it. Like if I see a grenade getting thrown at me on heroic or legendary, I'm just gonna like I think you're just better off just like rolling away, you know. Chess pieces from Raid, right? What chess piece? There definitely are. There definitely are chess pieces from gear sets from the Raid, but I don't know what gear set you're talking about. I know Bulwark is. Bulwark chess piece and backpack are Raid only. Okay. Alright, dude. I'm about to die, man. Give me some regen. This isn't good, man. This isn't good, dude. I'm like running around talking too much. Also, if you're new to the game, there's a mechanic in the game that's been around since the first game. If you're say if you suppress, I don't really know like if you technically suppress an enemy, but if you're shooting them, they take cover, and you're like staying aimed at them, they're gonna stay in cover. But if you look away real quick, just like randomly turn your back and then turn back, that enemy who is in cover, they're gonna pop up. Because the AI is like programmed to try to shoot you when you're not looking at them. So if I'm shooting this guy and I swap to another target, that guy is going to be programmed to start shooting me. And once you kind of figure that out, you're going to stop taking just randomly taking like a huge amount of damage, you know, or like, oh, that guy wasn't even shooting at me. I think these guys despawned because I was so far away. Eduardo, I appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot, dude. My parents should be proud. appreciate it, man. I've done, I don't want this to sound bad, like, oh, you guys are customers, but I've done like a ton of customer service, and I was a manager in a customer service industry for like 5 years. So I've learned to be just kind of like very patient, and I think that definitely helps with whenever you're like trying to teach stuff, and especially from like running people through raids and Destiny so often, and just, you know, being patient with people like not knowing what they're doing and that kind of thing. Sound, what are you doing? I don't know if that's just a innocent question, or is it like, what are you doing? Why are you playing like a moron? I'm just roaming around, just doing like random like PVE stuff tonight. I'm not just kind of messing around with like random builds. Mostly I'm just like talking to chat and like getting destroyed in game. That's what I'm like actually doing here. Dude, these guys are so far away. You just get beamed from like a mile away, man. No! You hate to see it, dude. The worst thing about using the, I can't think. The sticky bomb is like, you're gonna miss it so many times. Like, someone could be like standing perfectly still, and then the second you aim at them, they like do like a barrel roll. Oh my, dude, I'm out of ammo. What? This is, we're just completely falling apart. Alright, watch this. Okay, well, never mind. I'm just an idiot then. How many builds do I need for a raid, and which ones are they? It depends on what raid, but typically you only really need a DPS build. Yeah, there are people that tank, but if you're new to a raid, you're not going to be the tank. That'd be once you're like pretty experienced. But typically it's just a DPS build, and it would be something like this. It doesn't have to necessarily be this, but it would be kind of like the meta typical like DPS pieces. You're gonna run all red, and then I don't really know what you'd run for your skills. Maybe like revive hive and shield probably. But I'm sure it does depend on like the actual encounter. Because there are encounters to where it's like, all right, there's one encounter in Dark Hours, whatever the raid is, where like, all right, you want to use Bullet King for this, for this encounter. So. Seltern, what's up, man? How's it going, my Halo brother? Healer, 2 types of DPS, normal and support DPS, Telegrade tank, survivalist jammer build. There you go. Also point man tank. Dude, I love the tardigrade. Alright, I gotta swap off this build. I'm getting tired of having like no armor or anything. He's gonna walk right out of the hive. Hey, alright. Playing Half-Life Alex. So are you in VR? Wait, that game's only VR, isn't it? Dude, that game really made me want to get VR. Although, like, I don't have the money for it, but game looked like super fun. I'm gonna get killed up here. Yep, okay. We're going to tank. Let's go over here. You got my stream pinned? Jeez, man. I feel honored. I don't deserve that. I've streamed like 5 times, man. I appreciate it, Zeltern. Hunter's Fury and Leroy Jenkins, dude. If you're new to the game and don't have a Hunter's Fury build, just go ahead and do that. That should be like the first build you make. He just turns like everything easy mode. Hunter's Fury, and then Scorpio, and then you're golden. Give me 1 second, guys. I went through, I was so full on loadouts. Like, I had to go through, like, I had a bunch of, like, loadout variants. And I had to go through and just, like, delete all the variants. Because I just, like, was completely out of room. So now if I don't want to, like, run, like, the exact build I have to, like, sit there and actually, like, kind of make it. Which is annoying. I like messing around with this. And, just for, like, PVE stuff like this. So, four-piece, bulwark. Throw on the big shield. Make sure we got mods on it. 8, 8, 5. And then throw on Adrenaline Rush for extra armor whenever I'm close. And then throw on Intimidate so that way I have like the big weapon damage bonus whenever I'm within 10 meters. Or when I have bonus armor, then I get the weapon damage to guys that are within 10 meters. I always mess that up. But it's fun to mess around with. And then I'll throw on... I think I'll throw on all... that's crit chance. I want to throw on headshot bonus. I don't really know if it's like the most optimal thing, but it's fun. It'd probably be more efficient if I was using like Regulus and getting headshots. So turn. I'm an advocate of Hunter's Fury. You and me both, man. Love it, man. It's so good. And the thing is, like, it's not just like an easy build to like run around with. Like, it's not like it actually helps your team. Like, if you're new to the game and you don't really know what you're doing, or like maybe you're not new to the game, but like you just hit like level 40 and you're kind of working up to like challenging heroic. Like, it actually helps your teammates. You know, you just like shoot a guy and then like a whole group of enemies gets like staggered. Inquisitor, I appreciate it, man. I'm pretty comfortable whenever it comes to like making videos and like kind of like the typical like YouTube thing and like making videos and that aspect. But streaming, I'm completely new, man, to this. So having you guys actually here is like pretty cool. Because like back like 7 months ago or whenever, probably more than that, like November and October, whenever I started, like I was streaming on Twitch and I had like no subs or anything like that. And it just like, it was. What specialization should I use for ongoing directive? It's a good question. Status effects. I guess it kind of depends on what guns you're using. Like if you're using like an AR, that's a good question. Let me go back and actually look. It'll give me something to do other than running around aimlessly. Oh crap. I think we're buffering. Oh, we're dropping frames. Yo, I think we're actually good now. Oh man. We'll see. I think we're all right. Okay, cool. All right, we're good. All right, so ongoing directive. Let's see. I think I have a piece. I'm sure I have a piece somewhere. Right here. All right. So ongoing directive, we have status effects, reload speed, and then killing a status affected enemy grants hollow point enemy or hollow point ammo for your active weapon. Apply bleed on hit. If you use firewall, I mean that gives you like additional burn, but you're not doing like burn stuff. Like if you're doing something for like status effects, and if you are using burn somewhere in that loadout, then that would be useful, obviously. I don't know if it really matters all that much. Increase explosives, resistance. Yeah, I don't really think it matters all that much. Yeah, if you're doing ongoing directive, I don't know. I think the only thing that would matter is if you're using rifles, then maybe sharpshooter, just so that way you get the 15% headshot damage. If you're using something in that build, I mean that since you have status effects from the gear set, so if you're using something that has burn damage, than firewall. If you're using a shield in that build, then firewall would probably be the way to go. Just because you can use the firewall shield, which is the best out of the three kind of like normal shields. Like the deflector is like a weird one, but this would be the best one to use, the striker, which is the firewall one. Awesome. Yeah, I'm sorry about the internet, guys. It's super frustrating. I upgraded my internet a couple weeks ago, and I should be getting, like, I have like 800 megs down. I should be getting like 15 to 20 megs up, which is plenty, because for my stream I'm only using like 8 megs up. So I have, like, in case it dips down, it should still be plenty to support the stream. But I just live in like a rural area, like it's a farming area, and I think it just, for whatever reason, the internet just isn't that great consistently. Yeah, I don't know, man. Take a look at specializations. I mean, it depends on what weapon you use, I guess, and like what skills you're using, but I don't really think it matters like all that much. And there's a lot of times where specializations don't matter all that much, because a lot of them don't really do anything like too crazy. Like if you're like, you have some stuff like the headshot damage, you know, which you need to use for like a marksman or rifle build. You have stuff like the technician where you get like a free skill tier, you know, and then obviously like each one is going to have its own like specific skill, but it doesn't really matter like all that much, I don't think, most of the time at least.